Hands where I can see him. Step away from the unit, now!
Easy, officer. I'm just servicing the AC. Name's Andre McLean.
Stand up. Keep those hands visible.
Oh, goodness. I'm the one who called. I didn't know he was supposed
My
to be
ID's right here. You mind if I pull it?
Slowly.
There, company badge and the work order with Miss Meyer's name.
All right, looks legit. You're clear to carry on.
They threw a black man to the ground in broad daylight. They pressed a knee into his back, right on his spine, while neighbors stared from behind their fences. They called him a thief, a liar, a criminal. But what they didn't know, this quiet HVAC guy they were crushing into the concrete was a decorated federal agent who had saved more Americans than those officers had ever met. And when his real identity came to light, the whole street trembled. What happened next changed the entire town forever. Before we get into this insane story, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more real, raw stories like this. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing the whole world show up. Get your hands up now. The scream cracked through the quiet Colorado neighborhood like a gunshot. Andre McLean froze, wrench in hand, standing on the front porch of a small beige house on Willow Street. The AC unit was open beside him, screws neatly lined up, work order taped to the side panel. But none of that mattered now, because Officer Brent Maddox was already charging up the driveway, hand on his holster, face red and shaking with adrenaline. Drop the tool. Back away from the door. Now. I'm working here, Andre said softly. Come. Careful. His voice steady the way black men learn to keep it when fear floods the air. I said drop it. Maddox screamed. Andre slowly lowered the wrench. Neighbors peeked out. Phone cameras lifted. Maddox's partner wasn't even there yet. Just him, full rage, full certainty that the tall black man in a uniform shirt was a criminal trying to break in. This is a misunderstanding, Andre tried again. I'm the technician. The homeowner. Shut up. Maddox barked. Hands where I can see them. Andre lifted his hands. And the humiliation began. Andre McLean wasn't the kind of man who raised his voice. Didn't brag. Didn't show off. Tall, broad-shouldered, in a Navy work shirt with Rocky Mountain climate control stitched on the chest, he looked like any other service worker trying to earn a living. But behind those calm eyes, behind the quiet way he moved, behind the humility in his posture, was a past nobody in this neighborhood could ever imagine. He drove an old 2004 pickup with faded paint and a rattling door. He lived in a small apartment above a laundromat. He never talked about his last job. Because he couldn't. 10 years ago, he was known by another name inside the federal government. A name stamped on classified missions and rescue operations. A name whispered by agents who owed their lives to him. But today, he was just the black guy on the porch. And that was all Maddox saw. Maddox kept his gun drawn, voice shaking with anger. So what's the plan, huh? He sneered. Break in, pretend to fix the AC when someone shows up? That it? Andre shook his head. No. I'm supposed to be here. Ma'am Meyer. Don't move. Andre didn't. You got ID? Maddox asked, stepping close. Yes. It's in my back. No sudden moves. I wasn't. Turn around. Hands behind your head. Andre swallowed. Officer, I'm not resisting. I'm just telling you. Turn. Around. He turned. The cuffs snapped tight, too tight. Metal crushed into skin. Neighbors gasped. A kid cried from a porch steps over. A white man yelled, "He's wearing a uniform, man. Look at him." Maddox whipped his head toward the bystander. You interfering? The man went silent. Andre felt the weight of eyes on him, the eyes that watched but wouldn't step in. The same eyes black men learn not to depend on. Maddox pushed him to his knees. Face inches above the concrete. Tools scattered beside him. Work order flapping in the wind like a joke. Maddox leaned beside his ear. I've seen your type, he hissed. Always lying. Always pretending. Not today. Andre closed his eyes, breathing slow. He survived worse. Far worse. But this still hurt. Because it was so small. So stupid. So unnecessary. And it reminded him of every time he'd been stopped, questioned, followed, doubted, feared. All because he looked like someone dangerous even when doing his job. Even when doing nothing wrong. The screen door suddenly swung open. Wait, wait, wait. Jill Myers, the 67-year-old homeowner, hurried out wearing slippers and a robe, hair gray and frizzy. That's my technician. He's fixing my air. I called him. Maddox snapped back, annoyed. Ma'am, step back. This suspect. Jill shouted. Officer, that's Andre. I booked him yesterday. Look at his shirt. Maddox grit his teeth. He has no proof of employment. He literally showed me his badge 15 minutes ago. Jill waved her hands frantically. He's the only one who ever works on my AC. I even called the company. Neighbors murmured. Phones kept recording. But Maddox didn't release Andre. Not yet. He didn't want to be wrong. Especially not in front of a crowd. Andre kept breathing slow, face turned toward the ground. His heart didn't race. His voice didn't rise. Because somewhere deep inside him the old instincts were waking up. Not instincts to fight. Not violence. Not anger. But something colder. Quieter. Stronger. A power he never used unless absolutely necessary. A power that would change everything, and expose a truth nobody on Willow Street was prepared for. Maddox's radio crackled. A new voice broke through. Dispatch to Unit 7, confirmed suspect description. Maddox pressed his mic. Black male, late 20s, muscular build, attempting entry. Unit 7, be advised, the homeowner has already verified the technician's identity. Maddox stiffened. Further note, dispatch continued, we just received a federal alert tied to the name Andre McClain. You may want to. Static. Maddox froze. Jill stepped closer. Officer, let him up. This is a terrible mistake. Ma'am, I need you to step back, Maddox said, but his voice had changed. The edge was gone. Replaced by uncertainty. Because the name McClain meant something. Something he'd heard before. Something he couldn't place. Andre slowly lifted his head. His voice low. Measured. Officer, you really need to call your supervisor. Why? Maddox asked. Because, Andre said, eyes steady, you're about to have a problem. A strange tension rippled through the bystanders. A shift in the air. Andre wasn't threatening him. He wasn't angry. He was telling the truth. A truth that would soon explode through Willow Street like a siren. Maddox swallowed hard. Who exactly are you? Andre didn't move. Didn't blink. You already know my name, he said calmly. That's enough. The moment hung heavy, too heavy. Then, 3 unmarked black SUVs turned the corner. Fast. Controlled. Official. Everyone in the street backed up. The engines cut. Doors opened. And a team of men and women in plain federal gear stepped out. One of them, a tall Latina woman with steel in her eyes, walked straight toward Maddox. Officer Maddox? She asked coldly. Why, yes. She stared him down. You made a mistake. She stepped past him, right to Andre, and knelt. Agent McClain, she said softly, we're here. Gasps spread through the neighborhood. Phones zoomed in. Andre finally lifted his head fully, eyes meeting hers. Thanks, Director Vega, he said quietly. Director. Not agent. Not officer. Director. A federal director had come personally. Maddox's face went pale. The real power shift had begun. And it was only the beginning. For a long moment, nobody breathed. Not the neighbors with phones shaking in their hands. Not the kids hiding behind porch railings. Not Jill Myers clutching her robe with trembling fingers. And definitely not Officer Brent Maddox, whose entire face had turned the color of a cold, spoiled egg. Director Vega stood tall, chin high, voice sharp as ice. Remove the cuffs, she ordered, glaring at Maddox. He didn't move. Now. Maddox fumbled for his keys, hands trembling, fingers missing the tiny holes of the cuffs again and again before they finally clicked open. Andre pulled his wrists forward and rubbed the angry red marks. He didn't look at Maddox. He didn't need to. The shame in the air was thick enough to choke on. Vega stepped closer, her voice low and deadly calm. Officer, do you understand who you just put your hands on? I thought he matched the, I got a call from. You assaulted a federal agent, Vega cut in. And not just any agent. This man has risked his life more times than you've ever written a report. The neighbors whispered. Agent. Federal? Wait, him? He's an HVAC guy. Vega turned to Andre. You okay? Andre nodded once. Yeah. No anger. No yelling. Just the same calm that had unsettled Maddox before, now sharpened into something far more powerful. The kind of calm that comes from knowing exactly where you stand in the world. Director Vega moved to face the crowd. This man, she announced, is Special Agent Andre D. McClain, United States Special Response Division. Former rescue operative. National Citation for Valor. Honored for evacuating 37 civilians during the Denver fires. Survived 4 operations overseas that are still classified. A ripple of shock passed through Willow Street. Jill covered her mouth with both hands. Lord have mercy, she whispered. Some neighbors lowered their phones. Others lifted them higher. Maddox looked like he might collapse. He took this job, Vega continued, because he wanted a quiet life after serving this country for years in silence. And this, she motioned to the scattered tools, the open AC unit, is how you treated him. Andre finally looked up. His face wasn't angry. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't broken. It was tired. A tired that dug deep into the bone. He stood slowly, stretching his wrists, and the sunlight hit the faint scars along his forearms, scars nobody had ever asked about at the HVAC company. Scars that suddenly meant something. A little boy across the street whispered, "Mom, he's a hero?" His mother nodded, eyes wet. "Yes, baby. He is." Director Vega turned back to Maddox. "What exactly made you think he was breaking in?" Maddox's voice broke. He looked suspicious." "How?" Maddox swallowed hard. "He's big. He's strong. He's black," Vega said flatly. Silence. The kind that burns. The kind that exposes everything people prefer to hide. Maddox's jaw tightened. "I was responding to a 911 call." "We listened to the call," Vega said. The caller said, and I quote, "There's a big black guy creeping around a porch." Jill turned bright red. "That was my neighbor," she whispered. I didn't know she'd do that." Vega nodded. "And instead of assessing the situation, you escalated it. Because you assumed guilt before fact. Threat before truth." Andre spoke softly, finally breaking his silence. "It happens." He wasn't being sarcastic. He wasn't being dramatic. He was telling the simple, painful truth. Vega looked at him, grief flickering across her face. "It shouldn't," she said. Andre didn't answer. Because they both knew better. A black sedan pulled up. A man in a crisp uniform stepped out, Police Chief Donovan Riker. Broad shoulders. Stern face. Thick mustache that twitched when he was angry. He walked straight to Maddox. "Officer Brent Maddox," he said, voice low, "you are suspended effective immediately pending a full investigation." Maddox's jaw dropped. Chief, no, this is a misunderstanding." Riker raised a hand. "You escalated force without threat. You failed to verify identity. You ignored dispatch confirmation. And you put a decorated federal agent in cuffs without probable cause." Neighbors murmured loudly. "Good. About time. He always does this. He scares people." Maddox's eyes darted around. Panic rising. "I'm not a racist," he blurted. "I'm not, I was doing my job." Andre's voice cut through the noise. "It's not about what you think you are," he said quietly. "It's about how you treat people." Maddox looked at him, really looked this time, and something like guilt flickered across his face. "I didn't know," he said, voice cracking. "I swear I didn't know who you were." Andre nodded once. "That's the problem." Chief Riker turned to Andre. "Agent McClane, I can't undo what happened. But I promise you there will be accountability." Andre gave a small, tired smile. "I've heard that before." Riker frowned deeply. This wasn't just a mistake, it was an exposed pattern. Director Vega stepped beside Andre. "We're filing a formal complaint with the state. And civil rights attorneys will be in contact." Maddox looked physically sick. Jill stepped forward, eyes filling with tears. "Andre, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. I should have said something sooner." Andre gave her a gentle nod. "It's okay, Ms. Myers." "No," she said softly. "It isn't." A teenager holding her phone lowered it. Can I apologize too?" she asked quietly. "I recorded, but I didn't say anything." Andre looked at her. She looked scared. Ashamed. "It's good you recorded," he said. "But next time, say something. Even small. It matters." She nodded fast, wiping her eyes. A man from across the street took off his baseball cap and stepped closer. "I should have spoken up too," he said. "I knew you weren't breaking in. I just didn't want trouble." Andre exhaled slowly. Most people don't. The neighbors stared at the ground. Because the truth stung. Director Vega touched Andre's shoulder. "You want to say something to them?" she asked quietly. Andre turned toward the street, toward the people who watched him get thrown to the concrete. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't yell. He didn't shame anyone. He just spoke the way a man speaks when he's lived enough to know the weight of silence. "I don't want special treatment," he began. "I don't want a spotlight. I don't want to be famous online for something like this." He looked at Maddox. "I just want what everyone else gets. Respect. Safety. A chance to do my job without someone thinking I'm a threat." His voice didn't waver. It didn't crack, but it was full of something heavier than anger, something deeper than pain. Truth. I served this country because I believed in it, he said. I still do. But it's hard when the country doesn't always believe in me. Several neighbors wiped their eyes. Even Riker looked down. Andre looked around. Just do better than today. All of us. That's it. Andre closed his toolbox, wiped the dust off his shirt, straightened his name tag. Then he said the line that stayed with Willow Street forever. I shouldn't have to prove I'm a good man before you treat me like one. The street fell silent. Completely silent. Because everyone knew he was right. If this story hit you the way it was meant to, make sure you subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments, if you were standing on that street, would you have spoken up? Why or why not?